Hello and welcome to Jazz Guitar Chord-melody, Part 40. G'day, I'm Mike Hayes, and in today's session, it's the return of the tone clusters. Yes, I know that sounds like a good name for a movie, doesn't it? Well, they're back. The tone clusters are back, and today we're going to use them in a different application. We're going to play tone clusters in conjunction with diatonic triads. But before we get started, I'd like to just go through a certain fingering for a chord. It's not very obvious how you'd play this chord, so I thought if I explain it first before we get started, you'll know how to approach it when you run into it in the session. And I'm talking about the octave F triad. And the way I'm playing it is first finger on C at the 8th fret on the first string, F on the 3rd string at the 10th fret, and I'm using my second finger. Then the note A at the 10th fret on the 2nd string, and I'm using my 3rd finger. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is I want to have a 4th finger free to play G at the 12th fret on the 3rd string. And you'll see why we're doing this when you get to that section in the tape. But I thought I'd just mention it right out the gate so you can get a chance to get a head start on it. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed, to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the good stuff. Okay, let's go and have a listen and see how all this comes together. All our examples in this session will be in the key of F major. Let's start by playing the triads from the F major scale. I'm going to start with an F triad, then move right up through the scale until I reach the octave F triad. I'm also going to extend the range of our scale practice by including an additional G minor triad and A minor triad. I'm going to play each chord once and let the chord ring out for 4 beats. Here we go. In a previous video, we briefly touched on the subject of tone clusters and their application as a way of creating contrast to diatonic harmony in a piece of music. In today's session, we'll be looking at the application of tone clusters as a way of creating colour and movement. The concept is really quite simple. We're going to create a tone cluster out of each of the triads. And we're going to do this by raising the lowest note in each of our triads to the next diatonic note. So what that means is the next note in that key. And as we said, all the examples in this session will be in the key of F major. Now, if we take our F triad as a starting point, what I'm going to do here is raise the lowest note, that's the F, the lowest pitched note, and I'm going to raise it to the next note in the key of F. And that, of course, would be the note G. And there we have our first tone cluster. From the lowest note, we would have G on the 4th string, A on the 3rd string, C on the 2nd string. Now, we're not concerned about naming this chord. It could be a C6, an A minor 7th, an F add 2, and so on. But we're not going to be naming these chords. It's just going to be a tone cluster that's going to resolve to a diatonic triad. So we're going to move from this tone cluster and then resolve it to the F triad. And we're just going to continue this process all the way through with each triad in the key of F. Let's do one more example just so you can see how this works. If we take the G minor triad, I'm going to select the lowest note in the G minor triad, and in this instance it's G. And then I'm going to create a tone cluster by replacing the G with the next note in the key of F, which would be the note A. Therefore, the tone cluster that we've created from the G minor triad would contain the notes A as the lowest note on the 4th string, B flat on the 3rd string, and D on the 2nd string. Let's have a listen to how that sounds. In each example, you'll hear the tone cluster first, and then it resolves to the appropriate triad that it was created from. With regard to the diagrams, when it comes to the tone clusters, you'll see that there's a note marked in red, and that's the diatonic note that we've selected to create the tone cluster. Okay, let's have a listen. Now, as you can see, some of these chord shapes require a large stretch. If you've been playing jazz guitar for a while, these shapes shouldn't present too much of a problem for you. However, if you're new to this style of playing, you might like to start with the chord shapes that are further up the neck of the guitar. That's why I've included the high G minor and high A minor for you to practice with. Here's one more example where we can give the key of F a good workout. I'm going to play all the way through just as triads for the first time through, and then the second time through I'm going to use the tone clusters just as we did now, where I'm playing the tone cluster resolving to the triad. The third time we'll go back to playing triads, and the fourth time through we'll do the tone cluster resolving to the triad. Okay, here we go. Okay, that's it for this session, folks. I hope you've found something there that you could use in your playing, and maybe there's some ideas that will give you just something special that'll help your music or compositions stand out from the rest. And so don't forget, if you've got any questions or comments, to pop them in the comment section below the video. And as always, I look forward to catching up with you again next time. Bye for now.